Okay, division. Do you remember how division works when you're dividing fractions? One fraction divided by another. You divide by a fraction by multiplying by the reciprocal of that fraction. So you would keep the first fraction the same, but you would flip the second fraction over. The numerator and denominator change places when you change division into multiplication. So 10/11ths divided by 5/6 is equivalent to 10/11ths times 6/5. And now that it's a multiplication problem, we know how those work. 10 would be 5 times 2. 11 doesn't break up into any smaller factors. 6 would be 2 times 3. 5 is just 5. And do you see anything we can cancel? Can this be simplified? Well, there is a 5 on top and on the bottom we can cancel. And then what's left on top is 2 times 2 is 4 times 3 is 12 over 11 on the bottom. So the result in lowest terms is 12/11ths. So here's how this works. Dividing fractional expressions, it's just like multiplying but with an extra step at the beginning. Invert the divisor. That is, flip over the second fraction after the division sign so that you are multiplying by the reciprocal of that second fraction. Then it becomes a multiplication problem, and we treat it the way we treat multiplication problems. Factor any numerators or denominators that you can factor. Then cancel, which really means you're dividing out any common factors that appear in both the numerator and the denominator. So what about 4y over 7 divided by 14 over 12y? So that would be the same as 4y over 7 times 12y over 14. We kept the first fraction the way it was, but we changed division into multiplication of the reciprocal of this fraction. So that's always the first thing you do. You rewrite the problem, but you change division to multiplication, and you change the second fraction to its reciprocal. Now, do you see anything we can factor? Well, we can break the 4 apart into 2 times 2. 12 would be 6 times 2, or 3 times 2 times 2. 14 would be 2 times 7. And does anything cancel? It's got to be the same on top and on the bottom to be able to cancel. And the only thing we can do that with is one of the 2's on top with this 2 on the bottom. That's all. No more common factors that appear in both the numerator and the denominator. So the answer in lowest terms is made up of 2 times 3 times 2 times 2, which is 24, times y, which is y squared, over, on the bottom we have 5 times 5, which is 49. So 24y squared over 49. How about this one? 6a over b squared divided by 2a over b cubed. What's the first thing we do? Turn it into a multiplication problem. And what is that multiplication problem? 6a over b squared times b cubed over 2a. Now, what factors are involved? B squared, well, 6 is 2 times 3. So we got 2 times 3 times a. B squared really means b times b. Two b's multiplied together. And b to the third power means b times b times b. And then down here we have a 2 times an a. Now, here's the canceling part. What factors appear as part of the numerator and the denominator that we can cancel out? We can do that with the 2's and with the a's and with a couple of the b's. And what's left? We have a 3 and one more b left on top and nothing left on the bottom. So when you divide out everything, there's just a 1. So we got 3b over 1, But anything over 1, anything divided by 1 is just that thing. So instead of writing it as 3b over 1, we could just write it as 3b. Okay, how about this one? 6x minus 18 over 2x squared plus 11x plus 5 divided by 3 over 4x plus 20. So we start by turning this into a multiplication problem. First fraction stays the same, second one gets flipped over, and we have 6x minus 18 over 2x squared plus 11x plus 5 times 4x plus 20 over 3. Now we have to factor things. I hope by this time that you are good enough at factoring that you can do that. I invite you to pause the video and see if you can factor everything we got going on here. Because if you can't, then we're kind of stuck here. So let me show you what the factors are. 6x minus 18, we can pull out the greatest common factor there, which is 6. So it's 6 times x minus 3. The 2x squared plus 11x plus 5, we got to break that up. You can either do it in using the AC method or trial and error, but somehow you need to find two factors that when you multiply them out, you end up with 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. So that turns out to be 2x plus 1 times x plus 5. And with the 4x plus 20, you can pull out a 4 times x plus 5. Okay, now we're factored out. Now comes the fun part, the canceling part. What can you see that we can cancel? Well, the x plus 5s, there's one on top, one on the bottom. Bye. And anything else? Well, look at the numbers. The 3 on the bottom, and then the 6 on the top would be like a 3 times a 2. So we can cancel out the 3's, and there would still be a 2 left over on top. And now we're done. Now we can't cancel that 2 with this 2 down here, because this 2 is not a factor of the whole thing. It's not like just 2 by itself times some whole other thing. The 2 is just being multiplied by the x, and then there's a plus 1 after that. So the 2 down here is not a factor of the entire denominator. That's why we can't cancel that. So what we have left on top is 2 times 4, which is 8, times x minus 3. What we have left on the bottom is 2x plus 1. And you can leave it like this, or you can multiply through by the 8 and say it's 8x minus 24 over 2x plus 1. Okay, and how about this one? Oh, look at all of these polynomials to factor. But wait, don't factor them yet. First, let's deal with turning the division into multiplication. That's always the first step of a division problem. Turn it into a multiplication problem. If it's already a multiplication problem, don't do that. Don't do any flipping if it's already multiplication. But if it's division, here's where the flipping happens. Keep the first fraction the same, turn division into multiplication, and flip over the second fraction. Okay, what do we do now? Now we get to do some factoring. Yes. So, pause the video, see if you can get all of these factored, because we need to have all the right factors to get the right answer and to be able to carry on from here. Okay, so I hope that when you factored everything, you found x plus 8 times x minus 5, because that's what you have to multiply out to get this. Always check your factoring by multiplying things back out and making sure you get back what you started. X times x to get x squared, minus 5x plus 8x, so there's your plus 3x, minus 40. Then the x squared minus 8x plus 15 factors into x minus 3 times x minus 5. Because when you multiply that together, you get x squared minus 5x minus 3x, so together that's minus 8x plus 15. When you factor 11x minus 33, you just pull out the 11 times x minus 3. And then x squared plus 6x minus 16 breaks up into x plus 8 times x minus 2. X times x for x squared. On the outside, we get minus 2x. On the inside, we get plus 8x, so there's plus 6x. And then last, plus 8 times minus 2 is minus 16. Okay, now comes the fun part. Canceling. What can we cancel? Did you say the x plus 8s? Did you say the x minus 5s? Did you say the x minus 3s? Those all cancel. Anything else? Nope. So what we have left when the dust clears is 11 over x minus 2.